This video will be part 2 of the previous video where we were composing an orchestral music, and right now we have a couple of arrangements done. So there are a couple of changes that I did compared to the previous video. So if you've not watched the previous video, go ahead, check that out before you come to this video. So we're going to develop the movement part of this, a couple of backing chords, percussions and all those sorts. So I'll first show you what I've come up with, but before that, if you're new to this channel, I'm Florina Jane, otherwise known as Flow of Music, and if you like music production related content, don't forget to subscribe. So let's start with this video. In the previous video, I remember doing only these 3 tracks, so I'm gonna play just that for now. So that's the rough idea. We just had piano, another piano which is giving you some movement, and then we had violin. But after that, I used that tune to build some violin up, and then I have a couple of layers. So we'll just listen to this now. So that's a whole lot of violin. So I'll just quickly walk you through what and all I have over here. I have this piano which is doing the melody but in 2 different octaves. So it goes like this. So it's a little bit on the higher register side. And then I have a bunch of violin. I have a violin ensemble and I have the violin group. After that, I have 2 violin staccatos, violin 1 staccato, violin 2 staccato, which typically sound this way. Very short-lived. And then I have these 2 violins, which are tremolo. So that's the whole violin set. After that, I have a couple of percussions doing this. So that's toms. And these are some other percussions. And finally, I have a flute doing a faster rhythmic kind of trick. 2 octaves once again. So together, that's what you were getting. Okay, so this is the progress from last video and we have a couple of things to finish today. So I'll be parallelly looking at a tutorial and I'll be doing it. And as I do it, I'll give you a couple of shortcuts that I use, a couple of probably composition techniques that I'm following. It's going to help you out in some way or the other. So let's look at the next step that we have to do after this flute. Our next step is to add cellos and double basses to bring that bass element up, because all this while we're just having a little bit of mids, a little bit of highs, not cohesive yet, but then we have to bring in a little bit of more frequencies into it. I'm going to add a little bit of cello. And actually, to make the track sound more cohesive, I'm trying to use the same orchestral patch for all the instruments like violins, cellos, flutes and everything. Just because sometimes different libraries, yes, they work together, but sometimes they don't as well. So because I want to do this a bit seriously and because I'm doing this as one of my first instrumental songs to be put out, I just want to make sure that everything sound kind of like from the same ensemble, from the same pack. So that's the reason why I chose to do that. So I have contact over here. So I'm going to duplicate this by pressing Command D. So when you do that, you duplicate the entire channel strip, not the information that you played. But after that, it's part of this violin group, right? So I want that separate. So just drag it somewhere else. You can close this up. And then let's or maybe let's keep it at the top for now. And I want cello. So let's go inside contact. I'm gonna search for the pack that I've been using for a while, and I need cello. So let's move on to that. So he used a staccato kind of cello. So I'm gonna choose something similar to that. That's the strong kind of cello that I was looking for. But I also want to know where to place this cello. So you can always Google it as orchestral placement. You'll get a bunch of Google images which will show you where each instrument is placed. So you'll have violins, all those things on the left side, whereas you'll have cellos and double basses on the right side. We'll just pick this first, and I'm going to push the volume a little bit. I'm going to probably pan it somewhere this way. I'm just going to drag, click Option, click and bring that up. So it just copies, and I don't want it to be this high. So let's select everything and do Option Shift down arrow. So just push them all an octave down. No, I wanted another octave down. So Option Shift down arrow once again. Yeah. Not bad, fine. This is okay. I just want to see how it will sound if I cut those notes. Let's do the trick I did in the previous video, which was Option Shift. But before that, choose the scissors, Option Shift, and a couple of cuts. Not sure if it sounds good, but let's give it a go. So I'm going to duplicate this one more time, change this to double bass, and let's change the patch. So I want a double bass staccato kind of thing. I want to know what this sounds like. So either I can, manually go ahead and remove notes like that, or I can press Command A to select all the notes, but I just want to select the notes that are on the top, okay, not the bottom notes. So press Shift and up arrow. And if you look at this right now, only the top notes are selected, and you just hit delete. So all those stuff goes away. So I'm searching for that note, which is probably C2. Yeah, below that. So let's push this down. Okay, let's delete that for now, and I want to try. So I'm gonna shift click all these things and press Option Shift N so that the region takes a name as a track. Okay, so this is what I came up with when I stopped the video and I did something. So I have this counter melody using French horns, and have a listen to this grand sound. In contrast with the melody, I'm going to play the violins and the French horns together. So in connection with the whole track, this is what it sounds like. Okay, so that one counter melody changed the whole listening experience of this track. Now it sounds so much more grand, right? Let's look at how else we can kind of make this sound grand and exciting and all these tiny elements, because my main part is this melody. That's where my whole, the main tune that I want to let the audience know, that's lying in this violin stuff. So that has to be prominent. So while adding all these different brass instruments and wind instruments, it should support the main melody. It shouldn't overpower or clash or overshadow the main melody. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. So I'm going to do a couple of other things and let's see how it's going to work out. Okay, I wanted you guys to see the process of how I'm gonna put a trumpet right now. So I want to add trumpet to kind of swell at the end of every prominent phrase, I would say. So let's search for a nice big trumpet sound. And trying this. I don't know why I always like it when the length is a bit longer, that sustaining part. And I don't want it to be really perfect in terms of pitch, because when someone plays it, those tiny errors that they do is what makes that music very unique and grand and big and all that. Let's just experiment and see where it's going to fit well. Let's extend this a bit. Probably a bar's length. Okay, you know what? We'll deal with modulation, expression, the variations, and the chord is right. I want that ta, that I need. But should it come in that same level throughout? No. I want it to come softer and then go something like that. So we'll deal with that kind of automations later. All right, so this is what we have up till now. So this is the piece that we have. I did a couple of changes. There are some wind instruments that are coming in which are doing these weird runs here and there. Like for example, over here, those kind of sounds. And then I have another instrument which is going to kind of emphasize the melody a lot more. So this is just the melody. That's the sound out of this instrument. So let's listen to the track as a whole. Okay, so that's how the piece is ending. I am now thinking of adding another small kind of mellow down element without all those percussions. So I'm not building the melody and the chords using the main instrument like the trumpet or the trombone right now. I'm using the instruments that I initially used to develop the tune, which was this piano and that string instrument. I'm going to use this to first kind of figure out the tune. If you notice, like sometimes even after quantizing, especially because I've kept the strength at 89. So what that means is that when you select all the notes and you quantize and you keep it at 100, it means it is going to fix it according to the grid lines. But sometimes when we naturally hear music, that doesn't happen often. When you listen to orchestra, they often play in that slightly not on tempo, not deliberately, but it just happens naturally. So I'm trying to bring that natural effect here. But in doing so, you may notice that some notes are like way away, like too much away from the grid line. So in those cases, you just have to check them and you'll have to quantize them once again. And I normally never keep this strength at 100% for any orchestration piece, sometimes even for other song compositions as well. So we'll see how this sounds. Sounds okay. I'm going to listen to the whole piece once with the entire, orchestration and this section. I know this is not orchestrated yet, but that's okay. Just to listen to the melody and see how it's feeling, how it's ending and all that. Sounds very good. I'm excited to do the orchestration for this part. So hopefully we'll be finishing the composition part by the end of this week and we'll move on to mixing. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see me mix this track and if you want it more like a tutorial or like just a vlog. Anything is okay because mostly it's going to be like a vlog because I'm just going to do it on the go. I have added a couple of reverb and all that, but that was just for the composition purpose only. So mostly the next video that you'll be looking at will be a place where I'll be mixing this entire song. So hopefully we'll be able to complete this composition before that. So stay tuned for the next one.